Oh.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh.
What the fuck was that? My highlight of that pod though was the
Dogs around the world are like, what the fuck?
the highlight of the pod was the 11-year-old boy, German born, pillow over me, make sure it looks like I'm just getting really into Teletubbies. I'm a gif. Is that someone forcing his shit back up into
No,
his
you just do
colon?
anything. That's it.
Right.
You just don't think about it. You involuntarily move.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
That was great. That was
I
great.
can think
That
of.
was
I don't know if it works.
And now for a somber moment.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another podcast by ModdedGossip.
Hello.
He said hello. He does move and he does breathe. Today, we're going to be talking about occasionally. He's like a corpse that you have to reanimate with Pepsi Max. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about digital content, the amount of choice you get in different media, and, you know, is it becoming impossible to choose? The algorithms they use, do you then feel like you're missing out on content you might like because you're getting shoehorned to watch different things by Netflix or playing different things by Steam? That's what we're going to be looking at. It's not just the amount of content, but it's also the way that it is delivered by the actual platforms.
Service providers themselves.
Yeah, that's right. So I want to start with a story.
I do like a good story.
And the story harks back to when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I had an Amiga 500. And with that Amiga 500, I didn't have many games. I wouldn't say I was a sport child. So, you know, I got games for Christmas and birthdays and occasionally if I was good, which was a very rare occasion. Which meant with that, you know, that with that content itself on that computer, I would play those games to death, to be honest. About 3 or 4 I had for a while. I played them a lot. I'd play them more than once. I'd find out all the secrets or all the, not Easter eggs, they weren't Easter eggs back then, but I'd really play them to death. Then, let's say a year after that, I found the lovely world of piracy, the Amiga. And the Amiga was really easy to pirate games. So I ended up going from having 5 games to about 50. And I can honestly say, even as a child, when I went from 5 games to 50, I didn't end up playing much of anything for a long time after that. I played a little bit of everything. But
did you find you lost enjoyment, though?
Yes.
Because I find if I have loads and loads of stuff to play, I'm like, oh, I must play a bit of this, and I must play a bit of that, and I must play a bit of that. And then by the end of it, you're like, well, I've played them all now, but
yeah, exactly.
None of them's taken my fancy.
Yep. Whereas I think, especially back then, as a child, if I only had one game, a new game, and it was that one game, I persevere, and I might actually enjoy it more than I thought I would. But because I had all these discs with all these fucking copy games on, I'd be like, no, I don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it.
Do you think it becomes an addiction that, like, oh, I've copied this many games, maybe I can copy some more, and maybe there's something else that draws my attention that I can find?
Yeah, it's something I can like. Whereas I think when I was limited before, I mean, Christ, Rise of the Robots was a tragedy. It was a fighting game for the Amiga, and it was bloody awful, but it was bought for me because I wanted it, and it was at Christmas, and I played it. I played it all the way through. If I'd had that pirated, those discs would have been wiped within a day because it was tragic. Now, I'm not saying it's good. You know, choice brings about an opportunity to play, you know, more stuff. And I'm not saying, oh, because you can't have every game, you should just play the shit ones that you've unfortunately bought. But we had demos back then. Demos were the samples. So moving forward. Yeah, shareware and demos, big time. So moving forward, we'll move to my university years. University, I had an original Xbox back in 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
Great. And as a lowly student with not much money, I couldn't afford many games, but the games I had, I really enjoyed.
What games did you have?
Well, obviously there was Halo and Halo 2. They were some of my favourites. Midnight Club, another great game.
Oh, Midnight Club. What a game.
Crimson Skies, one of the best games for the original Xbox.
That's
OG
backwards compatible
Xbox.
now as
Yeah,
well.
so it should be. They should have brought a sequel to it as well. Proper sequel. Let's see. Soul Calibur, whichever one it was, 2. I played the adventure mode on that. I played it all the way through. It was brilliant. And then I hard modded my console. And then I linked it to my laptop, which enabled me to rent discs for free because I worked at a certain company. Rent games for free and copy them. And then I had about 50 million games. Oh, that's what it felt like. But I had, I had every game.
Was it the Linux mod? Or was it a different one?
It was the mod you had the chip that it literally hard fitted over the.
Oh, it was a hard mod then, not a soft mod.
Hard mod. No, it's hard mod.
Nah, fuck hard modding.
I had soldering to do. I had other bits. It's beautiful.
I've done enough hard modding in my time to know that that's a massive ball ache, and I'm not up for it anymore.
Well, I did that, and then I had access to all these games. I could play copy discs, and I could actually grab the media. So then I had loads of games, and then I hardly played anything, much of anything. I ended up just again doing the same thing, scratching the surface on everything, and not really playing them.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen so much more now, but in the mid-noughties, there was the best game experiences I had were on console, like the 360 and the PS3, because I didn't have the capability to pirate anything. So when I invested money in a game, I would play it all the way through and really appreciate it. Whereas with the PC, I could have access to quite a few games through nefarious means, and I wouldn't. Now, the difference is with today, instead of people pirating stuff...
Sorry, can I just stop you there? I just want to apologise for the lack of camera feed then. My PC just went into, oh, what window do you want? So I lost all the video and I was like, oh no.
It's fine.
But we're back, so carry on, we're back.
So,
I was considering showing like a modded Xbox on the chat. Like, because it's got an LCD screen, because I think it's very relevant, and then I managed to mess up my whole layout. So I'm just gonna scrap that idea. Carry on, please.
Mission control is not Capcom is not touching the fucking keyboard.
Yeah, I'm not. You
right,
carry on.
So then we go to the So the PC I get loads of games via nefarious means, which is fine. And then I wouldn't end up playing a lot of these games because I hadn't paid the money, I hadn't invested in them. So the difference you've got nowadays...
You feel like you don't work for them, don't you? If you just get them for free, you just think, wow, I didn't lose anything by investing myself into this game. They become throwaway games then, don't they?
Yeah. As I've got older, that doesn't happen to me with games now, because
with the wealth of the internet, you tend to not go for the less popular games, because there's a million review sites that sit there and go, oh no, this game is worth playing, this game is not worth playing. Yeah. Where even when you go on Steam, there's a whole review section, isn't there, where they say whether it's worth it or not. Like, yeah, exactly. The reviews are overwhelmingly positive. Okay, let everyone else be the canaries for you as you go in.
Yeah. So that completely validates that to a point. But if you've noticed, instead of people pirating games now, you're getting subscription services, so you've got access to a lot of content for a monthly fee. And what that's doing is it reminds me of the times in my life where I had a large access to content, and I'd end up just sampling everything and not actually playing it. And the same works for Netflix. Look at Netflix. Netflix, great example now. So everyone's noticed that they've actually taken the star system out of Netflix.
The star? Oh, yeah. It's just up and down, isn't it?
5-star rating out of 5, people would review them. Oh no, they've taken that out now. Because I wouldn't watch stuff that was below a certain star rating. Generally speaking, unless someone recommended it to me, I wouldn't. And because there was so much choice on there already, I needed something to kind of give me a clue as to where to look. So, from my experience, choice, instantly accessible choice, like having 50 DVDs of Xbox games, 50 discs on the Amiga, or Netflix itself, has been detrimental. Because I
Do you
feel
think you've been spoiled?
Yeah, and sport for choice causes
Punch
many
your mic,
problems.
sorry about
that.
Well, I've got a similar story to that. I'm sure I've mentioned on this before that I used to mod consoles. You know I used to mod consoles. I've modded all through the ages.
Yep.
Even the Atari STs, I wouldn't say modding, but what I mean is I did a lot of the piracy as well. Unfortunately, I know that sounds bad. Mega Drive and the NES I never did anything with, but when it gets to the newer consoles, PS1s, PS2s, when you mod them and you think this is a whole new world, a whole new sort of element of gaming that you can bring, like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get it, I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to play it to death, and I'm going to save loads of money. But then as soon as you do one game, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to play it to death. Nah, what other games can I get? Oh, what, I could potentially get 50 games today instead of one game. And then you keep going and going, and then all of a sudden you've got this massive selection of games, and by the time you finished getting these games, you just think, no, really, I just want to go and have a cup of tea. I'm not interested anymore. And you go off the games that you were hyped up about so much. I've done this so many times, even with new games that I've hyped up for a game. Look at Destiny 2. Yeah. I've hyped up so much, looked up so much stuff about it, and been like so excited. And then after 2 weeks, I'm like, this is just boring. This is dreadful. And I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I'm just saying that if you're going to release a game that's based around the sort of style of play that is based on, you need to make more content. Because you can't sit there and go, oh yeah, well, these people will do these same 3-5 strikes or whatever in these same events for, 6 months until we decide that we're going to release the first, or 3 months until we release the first DLC. We've done all the content. Everyone that played that game from release had done all of that content within 2 weeks. And you're not going to keep doing it. And it's those sort of things that have taught me lessons that the more time that you invest on like one game, thinking that you're going to get more out of it, I could have then gone to other games and experienced them. Like, I've wasted time. It's the same as you said on Netflix. You're not going to, if you're going to select something on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, you want to know that if you're going to spend so much time, like 10 hours on a series or 2 hours on a film, no one on this planet wants to waste 2 hours or 10 hours. They want to know that what they're watching is good. They want to, that's going to be really refreshing. It's really going to interest them, because there's nothing worse than sit there going, well, I'm never going to get those 2 hours back. And I felt like that with Destiny. But
the thing is, there's objective content and subjective. So there's a lot of stuff that's shit, objectively shit, in terms of content. Like the game isn't made properly, or it doesn't flow, or the graphics are shit because they haven't developed them properly, or a film hasn't been directed very well, but then you've got it's the subjective that's the problem. Would I like it? Am I into that sort of thing? There's many good films out there that I didn't enjoy because I'm not interested in that sort of genre.
Yeah. Even like I'm a big fan of sci-fi. Especially like dark films. I'm a massive fan of the old dark films. Like, remember Moon? Have you seen Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great film. It's really dark, and it only has like 3 people in the cast. But I love films like that. But that's a film that the only reason I watched that is because I did some research, because I was like, I need something to scratch that itch, that specific itch. So I looked it up, and it's a massive film, and I'm not that hot on films, but I loved it, and it's a film that's overlooked by so many people because they kind of sit there and think, oh, I don't know if I like dark films like that, and then they end up watching the same film that they've watched before because they know they enjoy it.
Yes, a safe
just
place.
Because it's a safe bet. It's because there is so much choice in everything. So we're gonna move, like, for instance, Blockbuster. You walked in and you wanted to rent a movie, and you're like, oh, me and like ex-partners have gone in there and gone like, right, let's rent a movie. And there's so many to choose from. You're like, oh, this looks good. This looks awesome. And you end up with like about 10 films, maybe 15 films potential that you're going to watch. And then you have to whittle it down to 10, and that's hard. And you have to whittle it down to 5, and then all of a sudden there's like a 4 for £10 offer. And you're like, yes, okay, we can do 4 films. You look at the time, and you've spent 3 hours in there trying to decide the film, and most of the night is already gone. And then you just finally decide the 4 films that you're going to get. And you take it to the till, and you're like, yes, that's good. And then that night, you try and watch the first film and fall asleep halfway because you spent most of your time trying to choose the film that you're going to get. And you try and watch one the next day, and you might get through it. But then you've got another 3 films that you've got to get through, and then all of a sudden you've got to return them. So you've wasted the money anyway because the choice is so massive. Whereas because there is so much choice, you don't know what you want to hook onto. There's so many different things. You're like, oh, do I want an action? Do I want a comedy? Do I want a thriller? Do I want this? It needs to be a little bit more basic. For instance, there's some people that used to come in and be like, right, I want any film that's come out within the last month. And they will only look there. Not because they've seen the old ones, but they're reducing their choice themselves. There's other people that will go through all the cheap ones, and they go through the cheap ones, and they're all the classics, like Die Hard and all that. But they're the people that know what they want, it's cheap, and they've already probably seen them because they're so old.
Yeah.
But they know that they're going to enjoy it. And Blockbuster, I think Blockbuster is one of the sort of earliest... That was a physical version of what's going on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix.
But the only difference is that you had to make an effort to go there. There was still investment, and the other difference with investment, because it's not just about choice. Yes, the choice is a problem, but it's also the way you pay for it. So when you go to Blockbuster, you've got to get in your car, you've got to drive, generally most people. I mean, in America, it could be like 45 minutes, an hour to your nearest Blockbuster store. For us, it was, 10, 15-minute walk or a 2-minute drive, that sort of thing. So you've got to drive there. Town. Yeah, exactly. You've got to drive there, and you've then got to purchase the item, and it's also got to be taken back. So there's those considerations, which then I think they help you invest, because you've got to be like, I want to get something, and I don't want to get shite, and there's a lot of choice, but I'm going to force myself to whittle it down. Whereas on Netflix, you can flake out on the sofa and spend 3 hours trying to choose something, and then you've got to go to bed. Well,
they've replaced the whole going around searching a film in Blockbuster for 3 hours now to going through the Netflix and going, no, oh, that looks good. Nah, I don't think I like that. No, I'm not in the mood for that. No. And then 3 hours have rolled around, and you're back at the start, and you're like, no, I'm just going to watch White Chicks. Fuck it. And that's it. And then, you've watched White Chicks, you've spent 5 hours deciding the film that you've seen 30 times beforehand because it's a good film.
I mean, with all digital content, they've done the same with games now. You'd go to a computer shop and you've been investing some money. I mean, people still go to computer shops now and Game Station, Game and places like that. But,
Game Station? Hell.
But you've got the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, Steam. It's all there. The Switch Store, it's all there. The only difference is you're not paying a subscription. You look at something like PlayStation now, that's becoming the Netflix of gaming, and they had, on the PC, they had a program called OnLive, which didn't do very well. And it was
on PlayStation?
No, on PC. It was called OnLive. It was the first game streaming service. And they didn't have very new games. It wasn't really new games. But then, imagine
Isn't that EA's thing?
No.
Didn't EA have one like that?
I think EA bought out the technology, the company, towards the end when it was going.
Oh, right, okay.
So then you've got this even on Steam now to a point where the only difference is when I'm looking at all these different games on Steam, it makes the choice more difficult in a sense because I'm having to pay for the game outright instead of Netflix where you don't really give.
You pay like set subscription, don't you? And you're
it's like $9.99 a month, and that's it, or whatever. And you're just like, well. So the most expensive commodity, as always, and as natural as it is time. But the only difference now is because of the abundance in choice, you end up wasting your time because you don't know what you want to watch or what you want to play or what even you want to listen to. Look at the stream. I mean, I flick through music sometimes in my car and I haven't listened to one song.
You're just like,
back in the day when I first got my car, I had a tape player with an audio converter to my CD player. And CDs weren't cheap. And I didn't have massive amounts of money. So I'd buy an album and I would listen to it, and I'd listen to it
over and over and over again, because you're like, I forgot to bring that CD out.
Yeah, but it didn't diminish anything. I still enjoyed it. I got to learn the lyrics. I had a sing-along. Didn't diminish anything at all.
And you loved it.
And radio, even now, radio is the equivalent of old television. I mean, old. So I've got DAB in my car, digital radio, so I've got access to a lot more stations. So it's almost like, I don't know, cable or Sky. Sky in the UK, cable in America, we got masses of channels. But like
1,000 channels of adverts.
Oh no, I've got 40 radio channels in my car at any one time. It's nuts.
40.
And there's even radio stations dedicated to kids. So have kids' music on there so they can all have a sing along, you know, if they're going on a journey with the family.
God.
So great Christian.
I don't think I can think of anything worse.
Yeah, you get your religious ones, Muslim, Sikh, Christian.
All I thought then was Far Cry 5. Just with a cult, those vans playing those music that you couldn't get rid of.
Oh, yeah. There's some of that.
Great.
So it's... radio would be like the old non-cable, non-Sky version of television. In the UK, for a very long time, there's only 3 channels. Then there ended up being 5 in total in the end. And that was it. The choice you had was out of 5 channels, and then you were limited by the time they were on anyway. So if you wanted to watch your favourite fucking show, Vantiques Roadshow, and you were working, tough shit. I mean, you could record it, I suppose.
You'll be reading that up in next week's TV guide of what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to set up your was it choice? What are they called? You know, remember video players? They had that recording function.
Oh, something plus.
Yeah, I keep thinking.
Yeah.
Choice plus or something.
Yeah, and it would synchronize with the time and start recording for you. You could schedule it.
Christ, that was technology back then. God damn, that was great.
So then Sky came along, and let's say, for example, you had 50. I can't remember how much Sky had. My sister had it in 89, 90, and let's say 50 channels. Okay, so that's only 50 different things you can watch because you're still limited by time. So there's 50 channels, right? But imagine back then if Sky was 50 channels and you could watch everything that played on that channel in a day at any point in the day. So then you could potentially have 24 one-hour episodes or something on the 50 channels. It becomes ridiculous. It's just crazy. So back then, I used to watch shite on Sky, especially at late at night. Everyone would be in bed, and it'd be about 11:30, 12, and I'd find some weird and wonderful stuff to watch, and stuff that I discovered because of the lack of choice that I really enjoyed, because that was all that was on. So now they're trying to, you look at Netflix, they're trying to curate what you watch by what you've watched.
Yeah, you liked this.
Yeah,
so you'll definitely like
exactly
this.
The same.
Well, but just I don't want to watch that anymore. I want to watch something else.
I mean, I look at my other half's Netflix compared to mine. It's ridiculous. There's stuff on hers that I've never seen on mine.
Do you not have a shared Netflix?
Yeah, well, no, we've got the same account, but we've got different profiles. So I've got my profile, she's got hers. And they're completely different. Like, there's stuff on hers that I have not, apart from Netflix's own, they push their own stuff, Netflix original series. There's stuff on hers I've never seen.
Netflix are becoming a little bit too forward. I get emails every day. We've added something you'll love. Oh, are you sure, Stu? You're going to love this TV series. I'm like, what is it? And then it will be like, RuPaul's Drag Race. No. The new season's out. No. I'm not interested.
Loves that. Absolutely loves it. So that will never come up on my stream. Ever. Great. Good. I don't want it to. But
well, we went to Lakeside recently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And we were just walking around. Then we went to EGX, the Res show. And then after that, because we left after Ali took loads and loads of helium. I said helium and not heroin, just in case. We took loads of helium and then started talking to everyone in a really high-pitched voice. in a really serious manner that he had to be somewhere, and he was like, excuse me, really like storming through, and I had a laughing fit. But anyway, after we went there, we went to Lakeside, and as soon as you walk through, what's that expensive shop called?
Ann Summers.
No, the first one that we went through.
Oh God.
No. Anyway, you'll know. If you've been to Lakeside, it's basically you get out the car park, you walk through this really expensive shop.
The towels are like 25 quid.
Yeah. The flip-flops are 50.
Yeah.
But anyway, you walk through, and I shit you not, there is like a 20-foot banner, right? Like 20, no, probably even 30 feet by, I don't know, 15 or whatever, just advertising Netflix Lost in Space. Just a massive fuck-off, like, banner. And you're like, shit. If that fell on someone, that would kill them. And then you're like, right, okay, Lost in Space is coming out on Netflix. Okay, yeah, got that. And then you go around the corner and there'll be another massive one. You're like, yeah, I got it. Like, I really get it. And then we saw, was it four of them?
Yeah.
All around, just advertising Lost in Space. This new series is like, oh, Jesus Christ, all right. But then with the emails, I also got an email for Lost in Space as well. It's like, you'd love this. Yeah, I'm bloody sure I would. But you can't turn anywhere. It's on billboards outside. It's on the side of a bus, and I was like, right, yeah, cool, gotcha. It's starting to piss me off, man. Like, everywhere I turn, there is some sort of Netflix hook that's in me. Like,
Yeah.
I recently watched the Star Trek. I still haven't finished it. We're 4 episodes from the end, which I will finish, I promise.
You must.
Yeah, and I loved it, but I didn't see any of that sort of advertisement there. But every time I turned on Netflix, it was always like, oh, Star Trek Discovery. It's like, yeah, all right, okay, cool, gave it a shot. But this one is like, they're force-feeding you this series, and it's really annoying. Like House of Cards, they started force-feeding as well, until Kevin Spacey became a sexual predator.
I think he was always that. He just got ousted.
Oh, of course. Like, you can't defend him, because there's a lot of people that have testified against this. And the reason why I said that segue there is because I think you told me there's a dude in Star Trek Discovery that apparently was touched up by Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Lieutenant Stamets, who plays the chief engineer.
The one that goes.
He was a child. That was the initial thing that was said. He made a point of saying that this happened when I was a kid with Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey didn't confirm or deny he couldn't remember, and just apologized, and then came out. Yeah, he's gay. I mean, I think that was quite obvious, quite a while, but he came out because of that. I think he tried to use that. He tried to use that to defend himself. It's like, it's okay because I'm gay. No, doesn't matter what sexuality you are. No.
No, it's not.
And I don't think the
being inappropriate to kids is not okay, no matter what.
And the LGBT community didn't appreciate that. It's like, oh, I'm diversionary tactic. I can murder someone, but I'm gay.
Don't worry about. He must be going through a hell of a lot. Yeah, no, we'll let him off.
Yeah, don't worry about the fucking murder. I'm gay. So yeah, he used that tactic, but it was apologies, I can't remember the actor's name, but it's the chap that plays Lieutenant Stamets in Discovery. So yeah. So not only have you got this abundance of choice now on Netflix, but they're trying to force feed you as well to narrow your choices.
Yeah, but the thing is, they produce so many series that all of the other stuff that's on Netflix just gets buried.
Yeah.
Like right down to the bottom. Anthony Rapp.
There we go.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly. But we're talking about Sky earlier on. That actually brought out some good memories. A little bit of nostalgia for you here. That when Sky was when it first came out, a lot of my friends had it, and my dad was just like, I'm not bloody paying those prices. That's bloody stupid. So what he did is he used to go to auctions a lot, because that's where he used to get a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
Auctions are bloody good as well. I don't care what anyone says.
We're not talking about eBay. We're talking about physical auctions as well.
My dad used to sit there and go to physical auctions and
with the paddle.
Bid on. And bid on stuff. And I remember he used to come back with some really nice furniture for absolute pennies. But this one time he goes, "Oh yeah, I spent 20 quid today." I was like, "Oh right, okay." Me as a young boy, like, what do you got? He's like, "We've got satellite TV, or we're getting satellite TV," and I was over the moon. I was like, "Yes!" What he'd done is he'd got an old analog dish and just found one of those like set-top boxes.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Yep, we got satellite now," and I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. That's not Sky." I had one in my room. He got like loads of them. There's like 4 dishes on the side of our old house, right? Honestly, 4, and we're not talking about these like dishes that are like this. We're talking about
big
woks.
Yeah.
Woks, what like you could throw them up in the air and cover holes in the ozone layer sort of size. But there's 4 of them on the side. One for my room, one for my brother's room, one for downstairs, and one for their bedroom, so they could watch it in bed. So they all had a box. And he spent days screwing them to the side of the house. These massive, honestly, they were, I can't emphasise how fucking massive they were. And he put them on, he was just like, "Yes, here we go, we got some channels," and you put it on, and it's all like analog satellite channels. We didn't get, I think we got about 2 English channels, right?
So it's your European, you're on the Astro.
Yeah, they were like, we got a couple of pirate TV channels.
Really?
Yeah, and do you know what? Pirate TV channels are really creepy.
What did they have on them then?
They played like reruns of stuff, but it's reruns of old stuff. But there was a lot of, what they used to do is, do you remember like they used to have like old radio shows?
Yeah.
Like back in the 50s, or no, maybe even before that. These really classic old radio shows, but they basically play them, but then put a really like weird sort of picture that they'd think would be related to it.
Oh,
that really wasn't. It would be like a starscape, and then it would have, we're talking like early 90s writing, like what it was, just frozen on the screen. Just listen to this radio show, and I'm like, okay, I don't like this at all. And I tell you what though, the only good thing about it is there was so much German channels on there. Like, we're talking...
Are you going where I think you're going?
No. Like, there must have been about 40 German channels.
Right, yeah.
Now, I didn't understand a word of it, right? But they did have a music channel that played a lot of, like, rock and metal music, which I'm quite into. Like, very much into, shall we say. But they used to play all of the videos. They didn't play German videos, like German versions. They used to play the English videos with full swearing, full nudity and blood and things. But obviously the swearing wasn't blanked out because it was German. It was a German channel. They didn't understand it. Like, Bloodhound Gang was a good one that was on there. It was I can't remember what the song's called, but it's basically Pac-Man at the beginning saying, "I'm smoking crack, do you want a free piece?" And they're like, "No, Pac-Man, drugs are bad." And then goes through this whole thing of just Pac-Man taking drugs, right? But they're not. He's not obviously
translation. It has been.
Well, they don't know what they're saying. They just think they're just talking in English. Like, oh, I don't know what they're saying, but they're just kind of, Pac-Man is like casually smoking a cigarette that happens to be massive and also a pipe. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. But and it was really cool watching that. But I tell you what, as soon as it hit 10 o'clock, right, the amount of softcore porn that was on there, right, 11-year-old me was through the roof. Do you know what I mean? He was loving it. Like, it was always on volume 1, right? Loving it, like watching it. As soon as you hear like a slight noise, bam, we're gonna watch some kids program, and we're gonna look like we're loving it with a pillow on top of us. It's that sort of thing. Honestly, it was brilliant. And then as soon as you hear the noise is gone, back on the softcore porn. We're talking topless people on a boat. All of your bits covered, and you're like, yes, here we go, 11-year-old me seeing my first titty action, loving it. Slight noise, back on the Teletubbies, here we go, I'm loving that, and you're like really intensely staring at the telly, and then like mum or dad would come in like, "Oh, you're right," and I'm just sitting there. Oh, the worst one is when you change it, you hear a noise, and you're like, "Oh my god, mum and dad's coming up, quick, change it to another one." They walk in, and you've just changed to another softcore porn channel, so you frantically just go trying to go through, just trying to find something to watch. They come in like, "Oh, so you're liking the new Sky TV?" Fucking loving it. Just me as an 11-year-old kid. It was brilliant. And we didn't actually get Sky TV until, well, I must have been about 17, 18.
Right, yeah.
So I'm 32 now, so we've had it for a long time, but it wasn't until then, and oh no, actually no, it wasn't. It was later than that. My parents got Sky TV, just when it became that you could record TV and watch it. Because that was their selling point. That was like, yes, We're getting it for that because
Okay,
my mum loves her period dramas.
So Sky Plus.
Yeah, but oh no, there's another thing that I used to watch on the German channels. They always used to play like a million episodes of Takeshi's Castle, but the original.
Okay.
You know, with the Japanese presenters, everything. I couldn't understand what was going on, but you just get them coming on the top of the hill, say something in Japanese, and you're like, oh, he must have said something really inspirational, and then face plant, then bam, you're like, yes, this is simple-minded entertainment. And you think, yeah, I'm really loving this. All of a sudden, the noises go back to the softcore porn. Anyway, but that's what would happen. But none of this porn was any good. Like, I don't even know why I did it. I think it's because I was 11.
Because you're an 11-year-old boy.
You know what I mean? Like, when you're 11, you know, my emotions were everywhere. I got bloody aroused at the slight sight of someone's shin. Do you know what I mean? Like, ooh.
You were like a turn of the century lad.
Yeah.
It's a shin. Ooh.
Show us a bit of ankle love.
Yeah.
But no, that's how times have changed. But as soon as my parents got normal Sky, Dad was straight up there taking all the dishes off. Like, no, you can watch Sky. Well, we've got this Sky. You can watch it in your bedrooms. And it's like, yes, okay, this is awesome. You know, okay, fine, I'll watch it. And then it happened. All the dishes came down. We lost the boxes, and we were like, okay, cool. I was at school, came back from school, and Dad was like, yeah, all the satellites all sorted in your rooms. And we were like, yes, cool. So we sat down and we had the normal channels, which was nice. I was quite privileged, so I had all the channels. Like, all of the normal channels. We're talking like, I think 5 wasn't out yet. Yeah. But it was 1 to 4. And I had Sky, and I was like, yes, I went on Sky, and I was like, okay, it's Bargain Hunt or something similar, something antiques. I was like, right, okay, let's change it. I don't have a control. What my dad actually meant is we can watch Sky upstairs as long as whatever we wanted to watch was what Mum was watching downstairs. Like, that's what we could watch. If we wanted to change channel, if we were watching something on Sky and we were like getting really into it, and then all of a sudden it changes channel, you know that Mum's got hold of the remote downstairs and she's changed it, so you're like shouting like, Mum, I was watching that, and then she's like, piss off, Coronation Street's on.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm watching that.
Yeah, and it was demoralising because I'd lost Takeshi's Castle, I'd lost all of the music channels, I'd lost my softcore porn, I lost everything that Sky TV did. No, it wasn't Sky, like the analog thing. It was upsetting. It was quite a harrowing time in my life, and I don't think I've ever got over it.
Hooky sat.
Yeah, hooky sat. But going back to the previous point, because you may think that we've digressed, but it was the fact that I didn't have much choice. I couldn't sit there and go, I fancy some horror films. Bam. Oh, what shall I watch? It was the fact that I had that selection, and I made the best of it. And I was like, I watched things in full German. Like, I watched full documentaries in German. Right.
It's a shame you don't speak it. You should have taught yourself. That would have been a good
like, you pick up like certain things like Schwarzwälder Kiestorte, which is Black Forest Gatto, and stuff like that. You pick up things like that in general. You just do. But it was just the fact that I would watch full documentaries in German, and it got to the point where these documentaries would be repeated because these channels weren't very well funded, and I'd just end up making my own story to this documentary about something completely random, and that was entertainment.
Yes, it give you a bit of
that was
creativity.
Imagination. That was, I also used to do it in like kids' films. Like, there was one time that I got really drunk at a friend's house, right? And we all went back to my friend's girlfriend's house, who was really friendly anyway, right? But the two friends we had, I'm not going to name names, but right, we had my friend who was going out with this girl who owned this house in, like, she was at uni. They were upstairs doing the dirty, and they were really loud about it. Then her mate, who was there, who originally took a shine to me, right? And I was kind of like, I was just that sort of fat uncle brother figure. I was like, oh, you know, you're right, you know, never made anyone feel uncomfortable. She was upstairs doing something else with someone else, right? So there was loads of people just having sex in this house, and I was so drunk that I sat on the sofa and I just pressed play on the DVD player, and it was Happy Feet, right? And the sound was off, right?
Right, yeah.
So I came in, so obviously you go on, you press play on the, this is when the DVD players, you know, didn't operate the TV. The TV remote was somewhere in that room, but the sound was off. And I was so drunk and so tired that I watched Happy Feet back to back 4 times. with no sound. Because you know when a film finishes, it just repeats.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't sleep because all I could hear was fucking sex noises, right? And these adorable penguins on screen. And I just made up my own story. And I was like, do you know what? At least I'm not living in poverty or something. This'll do. And I just watched Happy Feet and made it up, made out to be some sort of nuclear disaster that the penguins are trying to get away from, otherwise all the ice will melt. And then I made up names for all the characters, and then by the fourth time that I'd watched it, I'd had a great time. Like, I felt like I knew that story inside out. Turns out, yeah, I directed the film. Turns out, I watched Happy Feet like a year after that, and I didn't even know what it was about. I didn't remember any of it. I was like, this is not Happy Feet. This is some dodgy knockoff.
Right. Yeah, because you had your story, the nuclear...
Well, I had my story, and my story was a legit story that I thought actually worked quite well. I had 4 times to bloody, get it right. And then actually Happy Feet came... And as soon as Happy Feet 2 came out, right, I started watching that. I was like, this doesn't coincide with my story at all. This is useless.
You must feel cheated.
Yeah, I was. I was just like, you didn't even use my story.
I hate it when sequels go off on a tangent like that. And it's like, nothing to do with the original. What's going on?
Yeah, it was like, where's the nukes in this? Why isn't Professor Plump doing that thing to the other penguin? Apparently his name wasn't Professor Plump at all. It was just... that was something I gave to him. But yeah, no, I thought that was a really good night. But the thing is, the lack of the options that I had, even, there was a whole book of DVDs, but I made the best of the situation there. And I really doubt I would have sat there and I would have watched Happy Feet once, let alone 4 times. But I wouldn't have watched it once.
No.
But it was there. But now we're going on to, like, Netflix and Amazon, and we're sitting there like, we spend so much time trying to watch a series. And you think, oh, yes, I'll watch that at some point, but I'm not in the mood for it right now. And I'll watch that at some point, not mood for that. And it carries on and carries on and carries on. And I've got a list of 100 movies and 100 TV series that I need to watch, right?
Oh, the ones you saved in your list.
Yeah, and I'm like, I will watch that at some point, and then something better new comes out. And you're like, oh, no, I need to watch that too. And then watch that too. But then I've got a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then I've got to do things around the house. And then I've got to have a social life. And I do this channel. And... these things, and I'm trying to fit everything I can, like when I finish work after we've had dinner and kind of chilled out, then we think, okay, we've got a couple of hours, and then if I don't fall asleep, we'll try and watch something. But it's just, there's not enough time. Like Netflix services and Amazon, I don't mean to say this derogatory because it's not, but those things are made for people that are like unemployed or something. Where they can sit there. Then when they can sit there and can be like, no, I'm going to binge this all day. I am just going to sit there and watch 12 episodes of Stranger Things.
This is where I think you're going wrong. They're not. It's just it feels like that because in your head you're saying, I need to watch all these things. And it's,
Who has the time to watch Pee-wee fucking Herman on Netflix unless you don't have a job?
No, but the option's there. You could
I watched Pee-wee fucking Herman.
Why?
Because there was nothing else on at the time. I've gone through Netflix 15 fucking times trying to find something to watch. And it wasn't until that other guy that's in this Pee-wee Herman thing on Netflix, which I can't remember, who always reminds me of Bruce Banner. Not Bruce Banner. What, Pee-wee Herman?
Yeah, the actor that plays Pee-wee Herman.
No, he is fucking not.
He's the Penguin's father.
He's the Herman.
Father, I shit
Gotham.
you not. Yep.
If he is, I'm boycotting that shit. Paul Rubens.
Yeah. He plays Penguin's father.
What the actual fuck? No way.
Yes way, mate. Yes.
I'm not having that. No. No, I'm not watching Gotham anymore.
Oh, God.
I've watched like 1.5 series of it, and I was like, yep, I will come back to that eventually. Bought the Blu-rays, never watched them. Oh, my God, I cannot believe Paul Rubens, Pee-wee frickin' Herman.
Yep.
He's such a weird-looking dude as well.
Mm-hmm. He's like a man-child. He looks like a 12-year-old boy.
He looks like... Oh, man. It's just his facial expressions. He's got a bulbous top part of the head. Like, if you know someone's... Like, when you go a profile, his, like, face goes like this. Like, it's just... Oh. His little dinky bow tie. Do you know what? I'm angry at myself. Let's control W that shit. Pee-wee Herman. But yeah, it's I feel that most of my life experiences were developed through lack of choice. Like, I made do. Oh no, it's not a bad thing, but people like the younger generations now are not experiencing it. They're not experiencing the make-do thing.
To be honest, I don't think they'll experience anything because they'll be too busy choosing. They'll never actually experience it.
Yeah, that's it. That's why everyone's spoiled. They're always spoiled for choice. They always want everything now because they've gone through every sort of menu and option they have. And they eventually just, like, the amount of people that come in, they're like, oh, I'm looking for all these games, these new games like Far Cry. I'm looking for this and I'm looking for that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, Far Cry's 50 quid. And then they're like, no, that's too much. And then they'll just be like, oh, I'll just let them play Fortnite instead. And I'm like, ugh, another Fortnite junkie. So they go through all these games saying they want them, and then when they're not allowed, they just go to Fortnite. But it's like this, me going through Netflix for 3 hours and then just ending up on White Chicks.
Yeah, and I've done stuff like that before on Netflix. And like Steam,
I do it too often.
I spent like 2 hours on Steam because I just feel like playing a new game. And it's like, oh no, I don't know now. It's too much. I just like sometimes I just like 2 games, and the review is like, this one's shit and this one's good. Get this one. And sometimes I want that choice because we have to make choices obviously all the time.
Yeah.
And I think I have to make so many choices, especially the position I have at work.
Yeah.
I have a lot of choices to make that affect the business. And so I don't want those choices. I don't want to make choices when I get home.
Sometimes, yeah. You just want to sit down. Do you remember like American Netflix? You could change all the DNS settings and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I used to sit there. There used to be something I can't remember the dude's name, but it was like a little option that you could select, and it would be like, "What is your favourite style out of these films?" And you'd do that, and then you'd be like, "Oh, I think it was called Rex or something."
Oh, it's like a questionnaire for an algorithm.
Yeah, and you literally go, "Oh no, I fancy this," or "Who's your favourite actor out of this?" And then you're like, "Okay, I'll choose that one," and then I'll choose that one. At the end of it, it's just like, "We recommend this," and you're like, "Cool, all right."
Yeah.
And that was great. And they've lost that now. I don't know why they've lost it. And maybe they just don't want to promote things that aren't Netflix. They just like, oh, we've got this catalogue, but the real stuff you want to watch is this.
Yeah.
This is the stuff.
We'll call him Nathan.
Yeah, you went through and it's just like, oh, what do you prefer, horror films or sci-fi? And you're like, well, I like a bit of both, but I guess I'm in the mood for some sci-fi. Oh, what actor do you want to, use? What actor do you want in it, or who do you prefer out of this or this? And you're like, all right. And then it would pick something for you, and I think that's what Netflix should be. It should introduce you to new content, to new things, like it does, but stop giving you that choice of, here's a million films, you can watch any of them, do your worst.
Yeah,
because most of my subscription money, if I pay a tenner a month, or I can't remember if it's a tenner or 15, I pay for the 4 screen because it's got 4K.
That's 10 because I've got the same.
Oh, I pay for that, right? I reckon £9 of that subscription goes on me choosing stuff. The actual content that I watch is probably about £1 a month.
You watch the menu screen more than anything else.
Yeah. I know I do. I do watch the menu screen. Right? And I tell you what, Netflix, if anyone in Netflix is watching this podcast, which is highly unlikely, but if you are, can you do me one massive favour? And I think it's on LG TVs only. Right, but I'm not sure. You'll have to back me up. When you open Netflix, do you really have to do that? Right at the beginning. No,
I've got that.
Fucking scares the shit out of me every time. Like, oh, I'm gonna chill with this Netflix.
Luckily, my TV, because it's Android, goes into standby, so I'd never kill the app. The only problem is when I then come out of standby, like low power mode, Netflix doesn't work properly. You go on there and it's like cannot reach everything you want to watch. So now you can't watch anything. Brilliant. I have to reset the whole lot.
And then when you sign it up, bam.
Yeah, I get that as well.
The thing, because obviously, I don't know if you set up your Switch to your main TV, but the Switch, when you play the Switch on TV, the sound, like, it's no fault of Nintendo, but the sound on a Switch is very much lower than everything else. When you play a Switch game, you just kind of have to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It just happens, right?
Just their level.
You turn it up to like, this is good volume. Or there's a really banging soundtrack on a Shovel Knight or something. You're like, yes, gonna have this. And you finally finish, and you're like, right, okay, gonna put that on standby. Fancy watching Netflix, and you press that Netflix button, and that noise at the beginning turns into an earth-shattering, thunderous boom. Right? There was one time, I fucking shit myself a little, because it was so loud that it made the floor vibrate, and I thought it was a gunshot. Now you're laughing, but
Yeah, I am.
if I'm in a chilled out state, bam, and you think someone shotgunned you, or like in your house, and all it is Netflix saying, "Oh yeah, we're open." Have a nice bell or something like doo-doo.
Yeah, but could you imagine if every time you went into Blockbusters it did that? Every time the door opens.
Fuck. I don't know if they're trying to get like the intense movie moment, you know, like the at cinemas near you.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. Well, Netflix, fucking stop it. Because I have to change my shorts way too often. It's bloody stupid.
Get yourself a Netflix nappy.
Yeah, I'll need that soon.
You won't have a problem then.
But yeah, it's just absolutely bloody ludicrous. But we were talking, I don't know if we brought this up earlier on, but the Nintendo shop is another thing that they're kind of trying to limit it, but they're limiting it for the wrong reasons. You go onto the Nintendo shop on the Switch, because I've only got my Switch recently. It's kind of a new thing for me. But you're like, oh, okay. You have a certain few menus. You've got like current offers, new releases, and
everything released in order of release.
Yeah, everything. But
it's not even alphabetical order.
No, it's not. But there's a lot of stuff that's not there.
Yeah.
Like, I went onto current offers and you see a few games. You're like, okay, cool, offers. I understand why there's only a few. And then you go new releases. Okay, I understand why there's only a few. And then when you go into complete catalogue or whatever that option is called, you go through and I got to the end after 200 titles.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, there's got to be more titles than this on the Switch, like indie games included. And I was looking for one in particular, and that was that Damascus Gear Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because it's like a mech version of Diablo, and I really wanted to loot game, and I really wanted to see it. But at the time, I couldn't remember what it was called.
Right, yeah.
Right? I knew it was one of those ones where I knew it if I saw it. So I went through everything. I was like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. That was another hour and a half of me choosing something because I had too much choice. But I went, no, it's not that. And then got to the end. But I was like, oh, shit, I can't remember. I went to work, and then someone at work told me, oh, it's Damascus Gear. Typed it in the Switch, straight there. Right? And there's hardly any downloads for, like the review things for it. Because I think they're filtering content. Just like the really harrowing event, which no one has really spoken about since, but it's really nasty. Like the shooting at YouTube. That was all about this person felt that their stuff was being filtered out of searches. I don't know the politics from that. I don't know how true that is, and I don't know anything about it. But all I know that I think that person was feeling not what I'm feeling, but what I think was happening. Like, they weren't getting the views, so they think YouTube was filtering it out. Whereas this Damascus Gear game wasn't in any of the search things. You had to specific search it so people wouldn't download it. It was, I do believe this whole filtering thing is actually happening. But
oh yeah, there's algorithms, especially with Netflix. It filters based on my views, which isn't necessarily a good thing. I can understand it, but you need more of the whole questionnaire thing, like you had. That questionnaire, not that you had, sorry, that America had. That questionnaire would be really good when you're stuck. I know what I want to watch on Netflix now before I go on Netflix. Otherwise, I'll never watch anything. I have to kind of choose beforehand. But you're right. How can you choose
filtering. if you're not on it? You don't know what Netflix has got.
I know what Netflix has got.
Well, you just fucking check the emails you get every 10 minutes.
Exactly, yeah.
This is on Netflix now. Yes, thanks. I fucking know the whole catalogue of Netflix just through my history of my emails. Thanks.
I mean, don't get me wrong. With choice, I've found some little gems that I wouldn't have necessarily had access to, but the little gems compared to the amount of time searching and then not watching anything because I need to go to bed because I have to work.
Yeah,
it doesn't really balance, to be honest. And I think with the Switch, I think it's a case of Nintendo don't know what the fuck they're doing still. They're kind of getting there.
But it's like PlayStation Store as well. Like, I'm pretty sure the Xbox Store is the same. I've got an Xbox One, don't really use it that much. I don't prefer one over the other. I just kind of feel I've homed in on the PlayStation more than anything. Irrelevant. Anyway, I'll go on there and they'll be like, oh, it's a PlayStation sale. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to pick some deals up. And admittedly, Sony do some good jobs. They really, they get some good sales on the go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there like going through something like, oh, that's a pretty good price. That's a pretty good price. Yeah, that's a pretty good price. Yeah, and then 18 titles later on this massive selection of stuff that they've reduced. I'm like, yeah, these are all good. And I'm like, well, I can't buy them all, so I'll only buy one, or I'll only buy like 5 or something if they're like £3 each. You're like, oh, I'll play that. I'll buy that for £3 even if I only play it for an hour.
Yeah.
Turns out that I did that one time, and I bought 5 things over Christmas, including Dragon Age for £1.18.
Yeah.
Right? Ask me if I've played Dragon Age yet.
Have you played Dragon Age yet?
Have I fuck?
Exactly. That reminds me of the Humble Bundle. And I like the Humble Bundle, right? But it's like,
I've forgotten about Humble Bundle.
Come on.
Let me stop you there. I have got over 300 games in my Steam library.
Right, yeah, right. Exactly.
And I went through these about a week ago. Just looking through, I was like, oh, right. Guess how many I've actually played for more than half an hour?
40.
22.
Oh, wow.
22.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I've played a couple and then thought, yeah, I'll go back to that. But to play a decent amount of time, 22 games, and one of them was Final Fantasy 14, which is an MMO.
Yeah.
Which I don't think really counts. But because you sit there in the Humble Bundle, you're like, oh, you know, you paid £6 because you really want that copy of Saints Row 4 that's in the higher tier, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I'll pay £6 for that, and you get all of the rest of the chuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going to play that. Like, I've got so many games through the Humble Bundle because you have to get something in the higher tier that I think is a good price.
Yeah.
And you could say that that's good marketing because obviously they've paid for a license to use that in Humble Bundle, or it gets people playing their games. You know, like, you know, well, you've got the game, you've paid for it in a Humble Bundle. You know, give it a shot one time. But I'm sure there's thousands of people like me that most of that stuff, if I could give away the codes, I would.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good. There's a game on there. Don't get me wrong, could be a good game, but I've never played it. There's one called Death Spank on there, and I'm like, why would I play a game called Death Spank? Right, that sounds like a weird sort of snuff sex act just in itself.
Yeah, Donkey Punch.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, right, no, probably not going to play that. Not going to play that ever. I haven't even researched into it. And that was through a Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
I got that Shanty, whatever it is, tail. Apparently it's really good, but it doesn't look like anything that I'd be interested in. But that's through Humble Bundle. They're giving you so much choice. They're like, oh, you want some games? Yeah. You know, instead of like, oh, you know, we're going to give you games at good prices. We'll give you a game or two for dirt cheap. Yeah. No, we'll give you 20 games, right? So once you finish that one, you've got all of these to go through. You're like, okay, but by the time you finish that one, there's another Humble Bundle, and you've lost yourself out £12 again.
Yeah, I mean, physically, unless people are not working, you don't physically have time to play all the games they give you to completion before the next bundle comes out. It's the same with books. Books are the same.
For books, we'll come back to you in a second. The only time I have time reading now is when I'm on the toilet, so I've moved all of my book collection into the toilet.
That's fair enough.
But that's because there's no time. But carry on, honestly.
Recommendation for reading: I always read books at a coffee shop. If I've got an afternoon where I'm not doing anything and I want to read a book, that's where I get lost in a book. I like to be around people, but sometimes I don't want to fucking talk to them. So I go somewhere with atmosphere and I get lost in a book.
I can't do that. If I read a book, I can't even have the TV on in the background.
Oh, no.
Because I've got such a short attention span.
No, I need good coffee, comfortable chair. I've spent 3.5 hours before in a coffee shop reading, just in the afternoon. Just while away the afternoon because I can. Not often, but when I do. Anyway, that's beside the point. Because what would have happened is if the book was digital content, I would have spent 3.5 hours at that fucking coffee shop choosing a book, not reading.
Yeah, imagine if the only time that you could read a book is in that coffee shop and they have them all there. So you get a coffee, and by the time you finish your 6th coffee, you've finally chosen a book.
And instead, you just want to do a marathon because you got too much caffeine in your system.
Yeah. Instead, your eyelids are at the back of your neck.
Yeah.
You're like,
exactly.
But no, choice is becoming a big problem, and it's good at the same time because choice is good, competition is good, but I see loads of cool things, and I just feel like I'm missing out all the time.
That's that they want you to make. They want to make you feel like that as well.
Yeah, but they say, oh, you've missed a good thing here. There's so many games. Like, you name a AAA title that's come out last year, and I'll tell you if I've played it.
Warhammer. Total Warhammer.
No.
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 I didn't play Prey. I didn't play anything that was...
You weren't missing out much on that. But anyway.
No, but what I mean is, like, these are all big titles that everyone gets all excited for. Like, my partner, I've pre-ordered God of War.
Yeah.
The new God of War. That comes out this Friday, so when this video comes out, which is probably going to be Thursday night, it will come out tomorrow. So hopefully by the time you watch this, you'll probably have it and be playing it. But I've pre-ordered that for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nat's really good with games. She won't get another one until she's like finished like one before, right? But we got her Assassin's Creed and she's kind of getting to the end of that. But this game she's been waiting for over and over again, and she's kind of set her sights on this one, right? But she's had to dedicate that time to say, no, I'm missing out on all of these other games because this is the game that I want to play.
Yeah.
Right? And she's done it the good way, like, in my opinion. She's kind of sat there and she's gone, oh, this is the game that, as I said, this is the game I'm going to dedicate my time to. All the other ones I'm just not going to look into. If they become cheap and I'm bored, I'll do it. Whereas for you and me, having a PC, having big beasts of PCs, and having games and software thrown at you for cheap prices, and deals, and, like, for instance, CD keys and things like that.
Yeah.
It's... I own so many games, and I play about 5% of them.
It's like... Exactly, but it's like back in the day. Someone had a Mega Drive, they couldn't play SNES games. It limited the choice. And then it just, made it easier for people just to play stuff and really enjoy the stuff they were playing.
But I feel like I don't enjoy games as much anymore. Because I'm always sitting there going, oh, I need to finish this so I can move on to that. I need to finish this so I can move on to that. Otherwise, I've wasted this money. Like, we bought Far Cry 5 the day it came out. Right?
Yep.
And minus my... progress being lost because of Uplay, even though you said it was me letting my account out.
Oh, don't worry, my arcade rank is back to level 1 when it was 25, which is fine because I get more perks. So thank you very much, Ubisoft. Woo! Because I get more perk tokens. So if they want to fuck me over, that's fine.
I'll give you the long story short. Basically, I got to a point in the campaign we could play co-op. Ali and I played co-op. We were going through his game. I was getting the perks. I got the money. I played arcade for a bit. Got an arcade rank. I went on and then tried to continue my own little game, so I could try and get more perks and do the same content that Ali and I had done. And it was just a new game. When I pressed continue, it just started again. And I was like, this is weird. And then all of my arcade rank has gone. All of everything has gone. And I tried to contact Ubisoft, and they were like, no, your account has been accessed by someone else. And I'm like, you really think someone's hacked my account, just pressed new game, and then magically made my arcade rank disappear?
Yeah.
They haven't. Stop being a dickhead. They just wouldn't admit that Uplay fucked up. And now it's happened to me, and I lost about 9 hours of campaign, or 10 hours of campaign perks, right? And I've gone on to it again. You've lost your arcade rank.
Yeah.
And they still won't admit it.
No.
But Far Cry 5 is a good game if you can get past the problems. But no, anyway, we bought that on release day.
No, but I think what's happened is because we've played a lot of games co-op now, we've forced ourselves to appreciate more games.
Well, I like to think that we've kind of gone down a good route, that we are sitting there and we are like, the games that we play are games that we want to play together.
Yeah.
Like, we are dedicating time, like Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have looked at that at all, because I don't like competitive games, because I'm not very good at them, if you hadn't have said, Leah, let's do it. And thankfully, I loved it.
Yeah,
like,
we've had a really
Rainbow
good time.
Six Siege is amazing. And I'm not very good at it, but it's just still a fun game. But I wouldn't have done it without a recommendation, because I've got so much other stuff to play. But it's because I'm prioritising our game time.
Because we've got to do it for each other. We can't flitter, because it's wasting someone else's time.
Well, the thing is, like, I wouldn't just happily just drop 40 quid on a game just on the off chance that you might play.
No, not on a whim.
Like,
no.
Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't sit there and go, oh, Dawn of War... No, not Dawn of War. Total Warhammer. Yeah. I'm not really a fan of the strategy, as you know. But I'm not going to drop 40 quid in hopes that you will play with me at some point, not knowing that you like loved it. Like I've got this game I just bought 40 quid. Do you want to play?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not into it. All right, just wasted that. It's just not a game that I'm into. You know, we dedicate our time to playing these games because there's so much.
Yeah.
We dedicate, certain titles. And I think that's what you've got to do now. You've got to do all your research beforehand, and you've kind of got to rate how much you want to play that title. It's not like, oh, that's a new game, I'll play that at some point. It's, you know, you've got to prioritise what stories that you want to play. There was a time that as soon as a new release game came out, you could just play it, complete it, trade it in, go to the next one. And you were always playing the newest titles. That's what it was like. You know, when I used to work at that store that we were talking about, well, no, I can say that. I used to work at Blockbuster, right? You would get people that came in on Friday, bought the games, they would trade them in maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday, buy the new one, and they would always just on a circuit rotation of getting the new stuff. Now, it's like, this is the AAA release that's coming out, but then all these indie games that are coming out that you also were quite interested in, and all of these other games on other consoles that were coming out, are all coming out on this day.
Yes, you've got masses
of
choice
now. Fuck. Now, what was the most recent one? No, I'm not going to go into it because I'm going to waste time. But there was one where it was like, there was a game that came out on PS4, then there was one on PC, and I think it was two on PS4 and PC, and I was like, well, how am I gonna? I can't afford 120 quid here.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't do that. But, you know, I've had to prioritise, and I feel like I'm missing out on other games. With people, have you played this game? It's fucking amazing. And like, yeah, no, I haven't. I just played that other one that came out on the same day, and I'm relatively disappointed with it. And then that kind of brings me away to gaming, because I had to step away from it at some point, just like I'm sure you have, where it just gets too overwhelming. You're like, no, I'm going to play the games that I want to play. Like when we started streaming. Do you remember we streamed for a little bit, and we played PUBG, and then it became a chore for me to play.
Yeah, it became like work.
Yeah, because I was just like, okay, well, we'll stream this like that. But then I was playing PUBG because it was popular at the time. And, you know, we'd get the views. You know, it was really good and people loved it. You know, I'm not saying big scale. I'm saying, like, you know, relatively small. But people enjoyed it. But then I kind of felt like that I'm playing this game and I'd rather be playing something else because I don't want to sit there and play this competitive game. Or we play Overwatch a lot, you know, oh yeah, but there's other new games that came out. But then as soon as we stopped that, I've started to enjoy games a lot more. And then on the flip side of that, I seem to think that now I'm not enjoying games because there's 50 to choose from every single fucking week.
And not just, and it's the opportunity to buy. So it's the games that you could have played a few years ago that you missed out on. There's a great fucking offer on them.
Yeah.
You know, or they're on the Humble Bundle or something like that. So...
Or the worst, another thing that kind of pisses me off, is you'll play a game and you'll love it and you'll be like, yes, that was a great game, and then you move on, and then they'll announce that they're remastering it, and you're like, oh, but I really want to play that because I love that game and it's all now fancy and pretty, but then that will come out on the same day as this game that I really wanted to play, which is also coming out on that one, and you're like, oh, and it's... Oh, it just winds me up. Remasters are cool to a certain extent. I just wish they'd release remasters for dirt cheap. You know,
no, I
know it's not practical.
I haven't played the original.
Like, I played a fair amount of Last of Us. I'm not one of those people that finished it, unfortunately, and I really want to.
Yeah. But
I played it on PS3, and I haven't played it on PS4. And I feel like I really want to do it on PS4 because I haven't done it on PS3. But the thing is, all of the Uncharted came out on PS4, right? And everyone loved them and was like, yes, they're amazing remasters. I've already gone on them PS3. I'm not going to waste another 20 hours on them.
I never played any of them on PS3. And if I had, I wouldn't have got the remaster. I didn't play The Last of Us on PS3. I had it at one point, and I didn't have a chance to play it. So I got the remaster on the PS4.
Well,
I don't play remasters anymore. I got
one of my friends. Well, we both know him, right? One of my friends, basically, he buys all the new titles that come out. Like, he's got quite a lot of money. He's one of those people that doesn't go out. He just, you know, he doesn't really have a social life. His social life is his games consoles. and he buys all the new games, and then we're talking like three a week. He is relentless. And you go around his house, like I went around his house, I don't know, well, it's probably about a year now, and he's got a whole shelf of games, and like 70% of them are still sealed. And I'm like, why are you spending this money? Oh, I'll play them one day.
Oh, so he's not collecting them. It's just...
No, it's just, he'll buy them for 40 quid. Or whatever.
That's crazy, isn't it? Because you could buy them a lot cheaper later on.
But by the time he actually wants to play it, there'll be a remaster.
Or they'll be worth about £2.
Well, yeah, but he's like, I still got them sealed. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's like with the Switch. Switch is interesting with Nintendo because, in terms of choice with Nintendo, they'd have a good amount of choice. The N64 didn't have massive amounts of choice in terms of games; they didn't have that many. But what they did have was good quality games. I played GoldenEye to death because there wasn't that much out extra apart from Mario, which I had a Mario Kart. And I think with the Switch now, they're going the other way. I'm not saying they're lacking on quality, but because they've really embraced the indie scene, you've got loads of... there's not been this amount of choice on a Nintendo console ever at this early on in its life.
No way. Yeah.
No way. So, and it's just like instant.
Now they're bringing the Sega Mega Drive Classics on it as well.
Yeah.
On the Switch, this... Even the classic nostalgia games, the little tiny games that you can pick up and play, I think they're worth it because if you want to pick it up at work or on a break, they're games that you can just pick up and play. Like the new Sega Mega Drive collection. I said to you that there was no difference to them.
Yeah.
Well, I found out there is. It's exactly the same as the old one, but they've got 10 more games, right? And you're paying another 30 quid for it. So, okay, that doesn't sound fairly worth it if you've already got the old games. It's like they're not remasters, they're just ports. Or they're like ported for consoles. I'm still going to buy this new Sega game, Sega one, because they've gone, oh, well, how can we market this and just make it so we can sell it? There's already 40 games on there that everyone's already played. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll put Toe Jam and Earl and Gunstar Heroes on it.
Right, I see.
Sold. Okay. I've got them on this thing, which is a Raspberry Pi, if you don't know. I know that was a loud bang, it's because there was a TV remote on it. I've got it on there anyway, and I can play it literally whenever. But because it's an official licensed product, I will dedicate time to that.
Because you invested money in it.
Well, because I've invested money, yeah. Whereas, I've gone through, since I set up the Raspberry Pi, this new one, I will sit there and go, yes, I really want, Earthbound. Do you remember Earthbound on the SNES?
Mm.
I was like, I really wanted to throw myself into Earthbound. I played it for 20 minutes and I was like, oh, let's see what other games are on there. And then Gunstar Heroes, I haven't played it on there yet, but if I did, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll play Gunstar Heroes. 10 minutes later, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what the best situation is for that sort of thing, in terms of games and their design, is MAME. MAME's perfect. Too much choice? No, because you only play a game for 10 minutes anyway, really. It's an arcade game. You play, or most arcade games don't last any more than maximum 20 minutes, half an hour. That's perfect.
That is great. Especially
that's the one
side
thing you can go to. I go to MAME if I want to flick through things, and you can. Because they're designed for that. They're designed for you to put a couple of credits on, play them, and then to the next
one. That's what they're designed for. But yeah, life was just so simple.
Life was simpler back then.
It was so simple. Go to the arcades. You're like, oh, okay, what am I going to play? Right. Definitely going to play Final Fight. There we go. Bam. Final Fight's free. You're going to play that.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to play a side-scroller, it sort of gets to the point where I'm looking for side-scrollers on all the internet. Like the PSN store, Nintendo, and I'll play it and I'll go, not play it, I'll go through it and find side-scrolls. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. That's a £5. Yeah, all right. Oh, no, that's a good one. That's another £5. Yeah, all right. And then I'll go through and I'll pick out like 7 or 8 side-scrollers. And I'm like, yeah, but they're probably not going to be as good as Streets of Rage or Final Fight. Oh, fuck it, I'm going to play Final Fight.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to it because it was simple. It didn't have any of this roguelike element, because playing games now, you need a progression to keep people hooked.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You need, it seems like one of the...
Well, no, the reason those games didn't have progression is because they are arcade games.
Well, Yeah, but what I mean is to get people to buy home console games, you need to give the player some sort of sense of progression.
Yeah.
Whereas I just downloaded that Streets of Red from you when you said, "Oh, that looks good," and I thought,
Yeah.
"All right, I'll check it out." And I played Streets of Red, and I've not got a bad word to say about it. The first time I played it, though, the first playthrough, I was going to delete it because it's roguelike. Roguelike.
Yeah, I said
right?
the casual mode and then the.
Well, no, I played normal mode because I thought casual you don't get achievements or things like that. And I played normal mode, and it is a side-scrolling sort of parody of every horror film and video game going. And it's super violent. And you play it, and you're like, yes, this is cool. That I really like this. And then you die, but you collect money through the game. And the only way to continue is you have to pay money.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to pay $750 or whatever of your in-game currency. And you do that, and you get another life. If you don't have enough life, right, you can't continue. You physically can't. You press yes, and it's like, you ain't got enough money.
Yeah.
Right? So you press no, and it says delete save game. And you're like, no, I don't want to delete save game. You have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it deletes your save game, and you are back to the start as nothing. And you're like, well,
that's supposed to give it the arcade feel.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting to that. What I mean is, at the time, I was just like, what's the point of me fucking playing it in? So I went, no, I'm going to do this. And I did the next one, and I did it again, and I really thought about it, and I really played it how it should have been played. I was sitting there like, right, okay, I need to learn my attacks and do this. And I eventually completed it. It's not a very long game. It's only half hour.
Yeah.
Like 40 minutes, maybe. And it gets progressively longer depending on what level you choose. And I did it. And once you complete it, you get the 2 extra characters, and that's the only thing that you can unlock. Right?
Oh, excuse me.
So once you get the 2 characters, that save game is permanently on there. You cannot do anything to that save game because those 2 characters are unlocked. But the reason why it's there, it is roguelike. It's not actually a roguelike game. It's emulating the fact that if you've got a pocket full of change and you run out of change in an arcade, you need to go and leave the machine, and the machine's not going to keep your progress because it needs to get ready for the next player. And it's a fantastic way of doing it, and that really kind of, for me, refreshed side-scrollers for me, and I feel really good about them because of this one game. This one game that cost me £5. Well, £5 and 3p. It didn't actually cost me anything because I used gold coins, just for the record. But it's brilliant. And I think that's where Switch sells it for me. But I didn't fucking search for that. I didn't search for that on the store.
No, it's word of mouth.
I just happened to come. I got a recommendation, and you were like, "This looks good," and I thought, "Yeah, I'll try it." If it looks good for you, it looks good for me. There's got to be something there, and it's if you take out the meat and veg of the game, just itself, take that out of the equation, right? It's a game that we both liked, so there could be potential. We could just, you could come round, or I could go around yours, bring a Switch, give you a little Joy-Con, and we could just play. And that's great. That's what it's all about. But it just so happens that side-scroller is an absolute beast, and I would recommend it to anyone. But if you put that into perspective, there's a million side-scrollers that are available from millions of companies, and I'm exaggerating, obviously. But I only have a certain amount of time that I can dedicate. And I chose that one. Through a recommendation, not through any of these search engines and all these algorithms that come up.
Your mates know you better than anyone else, don't they?
Yeah.
Not some fucking algorithm, so...
That's it. We started watching Star Trek. Me and my partner started watching Star Trek. She quite likes Star Trek. I think she likes it quite a lot. I know nothing about it. I didn't watch it. I never got into it. I didn't hate it, of course. I
know a little. I know a little about Star Trek.
Yeah. Look, if he went on Mastermind, it would be Star Trek lore. Not even. I don't think. Would it be the lore or the TV programs? You reckon?
It'd be lore, but I can do both.
Yeah, see, that would be his special subject. But what I mean is, I started watching Star Trek through this man's recommendation. Right, because he thought, yeah, you like sci-fi. It's not too Star Trek. You'd love it. And I started watching it, and I was hooked. Like 4 episodes a night. Couldn't stop. It was brilliant. But that's how things work for me and you. It's word of mouth.
It's old school. It's like what it used to be. But at Blockbuster, when we worked there, it was word of mouth, especially in a small town. People would come up to me and say, "What have you seen? What do you recommend?"
Yeah.
I had free stuff coming in left, right, and centre from certain customers who had businesses in town because I gave them a good recommendation, or me and someone else did, and they'd reward us for it. But it was through that.
Yeah,
Maybe
but that was
we
a
were the
sort of,
algorithm.
yeah. The algorithm
Technically.
was a real person.
Yeah.
Because when you work for Blockbuster, you got these things called free rentals. You can guess what they are. Free rentals. You could rent anything for free. And that's because you think it would be a perk, but what it actually is Blockbuster wanted their employees to know what to recommend.
Well, yeah, enhancing your job, aren't
They wanted to make you better. So obviously you get 10 free rentals a week, which is fantastic. All the new films come in. Yeah, I'm going to rent them.
7 in my day, it was 7.
Well, 7, yeah, yeah. I think it's because it was 2 nights then, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was 2 nights, and then it went down to 1 night, so I think they gave you 10, so you could get more. But, yeah, and then people would come up to me. Same sort of situation that happened with you.
Mm-hmm.
People, I think it was from some pizza shop.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, and there was a cafe on the corner.
Yep.
Like a tea room. And he used to come in and just be like, right, I need a film. Something like this. And we'd be like, got the film for you. There you go, have that. And then the next day, come in with the tray of cakes. That film was great. Thanks ever so much for that. And you felt really good about doing that. But now it's, especially when you judge for like the younger generation, they will play anything that websites say is good.
Yeah, they'll play or watch or listen to. Yeah, exactly. That's the way they'll consume. It won't be their friends because they'll all be having an algorithm telling them what to consume.
If this algorithm said, yeah, Dog Shit Simulator is the best game ever, all the kids would be like, Mom, I want Dog Shit Simulator. They wouldn't know anything about it.
That's how Goat Simulator worked.
That's what I mean. Wasn't
Sorry,
Goat
I don't
Simulator
care how
a mod?
good that game is. Yeah, yeah.
No,
It's a fucking goat.
It's shit. That game is shit. I've got Goat Simulator because it was free, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to try it. And you are a goat.
Exactly.
Walking around, playing with physics. That sounds, I guess, quite fun. And then Farming Simulator has become this massive thing when this, genuinely, the reason why it's there, it's made for people that are either massive fans of the actual like business itself, or for people with learning difficulties, or just general sort of like as a simulation game. The reason why I say this is because obviously learning difficulties, it's basically getting them involved in real world activities. There's things like Airport Simulator. There's Dust Cart Simulator. That's a real thing. Bus Driver Simulator, and it's to try and get people sort of used to them, like used to the mechanics of the world.
Real world, isn't it?
And I think they're fantastic, like for what they are. But Farming Simulator had a few glitches where you could drive to a market with all your goods and then just mow down everyone. And then people saw, oh, this is a great, really fun game. And you're like, oh yeah, you're driving tractors around just to kill people at a market. And you're like, the developers are like, well, it's not what we made it for, but we get that money in.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just disheartening because this game is farming. It's not an interesting subject for someone like me.
No,
but it's.
I don't think a farmer would be. It's like me playing a simulator where you work. It's just no.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like there was one on Steam called the PC Building Simulator.
Yeah.
Right, that's the thing now, and you can build your dream PC. You know, and you think, okay, well, you can understand some people like, you know,
right. Do you know why that would be good though? Just a little segue. Is if it actually emulated all the parts, so you could look for compatibility issues.
I think it does.
Well,
I think it generally because it's all licensed parts.
Yeah, so
and you can make your dream PC through this simulator, and you're like, yeah, you know, this sounds really awesome. But then once you've made your dream PC, you can't play a game on your dream PC. You just made it. You're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
If you really want that sort of feeling of satisfaction and reward, save up to buy that PC and build it.
I want to make my PC on the PC simulator.
And you very much can, because they're all licensed. Your Corsair case that you've got at the side of your video there, right here, you can see the corner here, that's on that game, because it's on the demo. Yeah, you can get that game, that case, sorry, and everything inside it to make that PC. But once you've made that PC, it's like, why don't you just... I know you might not have the money, but just upgrade your PC. It's just, I don't think there's a market. I don't want to play a game of simulating building a PC.
as some sort of learning tool, or people that don't know much that are getting into it that want to test different parts, then fine.
Oh,
If
no,
it's accurate at that, but that's the only thing I think. As a tool, I think it could be useful, but only as a tool.
that's the difference, though. As a tool, sounds great. But this thing has gone, like, I wouldn't say viral, but what I mean is this is now in, like, the charts because people are making the most ridiculous cases and ridiculous things that, you know, with, like, water cooling that spouts up the top like a Thomas the Tank engine.
Right, yeah, okay.
You know,
so
because...
it's a complete extreme.
Yeah, and you're like, well, it's not a simulator then. It's like I could build a PC out of my trousers. You know, and that's... Maybe I'm just quite old at heart. I don't like it when simulator games or things like that get popular for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I can understand that.
For instance, Goat Simulator, Farming Simulator, any
but
simulator.
Goat Simulator, it's just not even a good. It's not a proper simulator. At least Farming Simulator, they've really done a good job on the accuracy of the vehicles and physics and whatever else. You know.
But what I mean is that it got popular because it was unfinished and got glitched out.
There were glitches, yeah.
Because like the physics, will, you know, you could like make your tractor fly by hitting certain trees, and people are like, yeah, this is well fun. Meet up with your mate, but like Farming Simulator, take it mega serious.
That is a real procrastination generator.
Yeah, like the developers of Farming Simulator, they have like DLC packs of like brands of tractors. You know, like what you would consider like supercar class of tractors. They would put that in the game, and they do a great job. You know, for people that want to do that. But then people are like, oh, I'll just pick that because it's red and I'll run over loads of people at the market. Yeah, this is great. I paid 20 quid for this. Whoa. You're like, oh, bloody hell. I think I've ranted enough about that. That's... Fortnite is another game that really grinds my gears. Because everyone's on it. Like, every kid that comes in... Have you got a headset? Oh, yeah, we've got some headsets. Yeah, it's because my kid wants to play. Like, my kid is playing Fortnite. Oh.
I don't think it's healthy. I don't think that format of game should be played by children. I don't care how cutesy it is.
Someone came in and was just like, oh yeah, I keep buying my kid headsets, so I just want the cheapest you've got because he keeps breaking them.
Wow.
And it's like, well, he's breaking them because he's this fucking game. That's why. Because he keeps ripping them out and like standing on them and stuff because he's getting pissed off.
No, but what
don't
I find
buy him a new headset. Take the game away.
Or yeah, not buy headsets. You know, oh god, if I had a
make
kid
him learn his lesson.
Exactly. That's nuts. Oh no.
But that's.
No.
I don't know whether it's because I can't get into Fortnite. I don't think it's a sort of jealousy, but it's just, it just winds me up. I hate hearing about Fortnite. Like, I hate hearing about how it was developed. You know, for me, PUBG was, from like, I know that it was an armor mod.
Yeah.
And then it got made bigger. PUBG was great. And I know it's kind of momentum has slowed down, but it's like Fortnite. What everyone is playing and saying they want to play Fortnite is not Fortnite.
No.
Fortnite is like Plants vs Zombies. But they've just gone, oh, we've made this Battle Royale mod that's completely original and not ripped off PlayerUnknown. And Armour and H1Z1.
Aren't they?
But instead of PUBG selling their early access for 27 quid, we've got microtransactions and it's free.
Yeah.
And it's got a PEGI rating of 7. Oh my god! All parents and all kids are like, nah, I get to play PUBG or the equivalent of without having to pester my mum for some money. And that winds me up.
I'm not a fan. It's Battle Royale's equivalent of Overwatch, and I do like Overwatch. But the whole Battle Royale thing leaves a bad taste in my mouth for children.
No, it's... If you imagine, it's like PlayerUnknown, but you replace all the characters with Paw Patrol.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a kids' TV program. It's that sort of
the meat and gravy is still there, and that's the problem.
Pick up this guy. Oh, it's golden, so it's more popular.
Have we flogged the goat?
I don't know. I think, yeah, maybe. I think so. It's just. Some people will call it, well, especially me, call me selfish for it. You know, like, oh, well, it's good choice. You know, there's a lot of choice. That should be good. But it really puts a damper on it when I have to sit there and that I can't experience all of these things. Like, I would say I'm a pretty hefty gamer, but we went to EGX, obviously, as we've mentioned, and there were hundreds of games there.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of good-looking ones, but I know deep in my heart that, one, I won't be able to afford all of them, and two, I won't be able to spend that amount of time on it. Like, there was a game called Guns of Icarus, looked awesome, and that's one that I'll definitely sell into. Right, that's great. But then there's other ones, like Starbound is coming to the Xbox One. I love Starbound. I want to see what they've done with, like, remastering it for consoles. I'm not going to buy it. I don't have time. And there's all these other games. No, I don't have time for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just heartbreaking. I wouldn't say it's, like, upsetting. It's just heartbreaking that there's so many experiences within gaming that I'm not experiencing. Because all the single-player games...
In a nutshell, the lack of choice forces you to go with what you've got. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll make the good choice or that the choices you have are good, but it means you'll certainly invest more time in whatever you're doing because you will have no choice to. You know, if there's only 2 or 3 games to choose, you're going to pick one, you're going to really play it. However, when you've got 100 games to choose from, you end up not playing any to an appreciative level sometimes.
Yeah, because you're always trying to, like, speed it up to try and get to the next one. And it's like, of those 100 games that come out, like, over a month, like 70% of them are probably PvP.
Yeah, which PvP should really be PAP for PAP.
Yeah.
They all come out, they're fucking PAP.
But I think we should end it there, because otherwise I'll get frustrated and basically say, yeah, PvP should fuck off.
Yeah, you nearly break your mic there.
Yeah, I just punched that. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna end it here. Thanks ever so much for watching again. Thanks for sticking with us and sharing out the posts and chilling with us on social media. So if you ever want to go on Twitter, go to @ModdedGossip and you will talk to either Ali or myself, which will be quite fun. So you could kind of sit there and have a chat with us. I want to give out some special thanks to Video Game Basement, who have been legends that have been retweeting
really
us.
Good. Thank you very much.
And they're a great channel and you should check them out. It's 2 dudes in a basement talking about video games and nostalgia and toys. And it's a really entertaining channel. They're quite small, but I think you should definitely go and watch them.
Do you know what's good also? If there was a nuclear apocalypse, because they're in a basement, they'd still be able to record those shows.
Yeah, they would still do it as long as the internet was up.
Look at No, they can still record them. They might have to put them out on VHS.
Yeah, send them out on tape, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they're definitely a great channel. You should go and check them out. And thanks ever so much for kind of watching and supporting our subjects. If you want to get involved, let us know. If you don't like our video, please press the dislike, but tell us why. We only want to make this show better. If you like the video, please press that like button because then it helps us no end. And finally, please press the subscribe button so we can get a big boy name and press that bell because you can get notifications. Now at the end of this, yeah, ding dong. So I'm now going to end this video with, as usual, the thing that we always do at the end of the video, Ali's inspirational quote.
Really? Again? Okay.
What do you mean really again? We agreed that this was going to be a weekly thing.
You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice.
There you go.
Perfect.
That is a perfect comment. How do you do? You sit there and you complain, and you go, "Oh, not this again. Here's a banger." You just fucking put out a banger.
You got to build it up. You got to build it up.
You just shoot everyone down just to lift them up.
That's right.
But anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. We've been Modded Gossip. I'm Stu.
I'm Ali.
He's Ali. See you next time. Bye bye, everybody. Bye.